The words story and plot are often used synonymously, but some writers and critics insist on a subtle difference between the two. In The Art of Writing Fiction, Janet Burroway puts it like this. She says, "A story is a series of events recorded in their chronological order. A plot is a series of events deliberately arranged so as to reveal their dramatic, thematic and emotional significance." And the great English novelist E.M. Forster made a similar distinction. He said, "The king died and then the queen died is a story. The king died and then the queen died out of grief at the death of the king is a plot. The time sequence is preserved, but the sense of causality overshadows it." Or again, "The queen died and nobody knew why until it was discovered that it was through grief at the death of the king." Forster says, "This is a plot with a mystery in it, a form capable of high development." So here's an example of a story. After we were at the club, we went back to Jim's and Jim fell out of the window. And here's that story turned into a plot. I wanted to leave the club and Jim didn't, and that was how the argument started. We were still arguing when we got back to Jim's. The argument became physical and I pushed Jim. He stumbled and fell out of the window. The key to a plot then is that events are causatively connected. One thing leads to another thing. Now that's not necessarily the case in real life. An argument that often develops in writers' workshops occurs when a writer is told that something in his story isn't very realistic, at which point he might retort, but that really happened. He might say, "My second cousin Bernard genuinely did spend years searching for his long-lost brother, and then he really did happen to be sitting next to him completely by chance one morning on a train to Wolverhampton." But that's no defence, because in this regard, truth really is stranger than fiction. Life is full of coincidence, full of random, arbitrary events. Life is, in Albert Camus' terms, absurd. We sometimes try to impose meaning on it. If we're struck by lightning, we might wonder if maybe it happened as a punishment because a year earlier we had an affair. But it didn't. It was just a random, arbitrary event. But the random, coincidence, these things have little place in fiction. Imagine you read a detective novel, and throughout the novel, the detective chases witnesses and follows up clues, but ultimately she draws a blank. And the case is dropped, unsolved. And to mark the end of the investigation, she goes out for dinner with her partner, and they're at the local eatery, and it so happens, just by chance, that the criminals are sitting at the adjacent table discussing how they got away with murder. Could it happen in real life? Probably, I guess. Would it satisfy us as the resolution of a crime thriller? Definitely not. In stories, unlike in real life, things have to happen for a reason. Below this video you'll find a link to some examples of stories. If you feel like it, then by all means have a go rewriting them as plots. Thanks a lot for watching and good luck with your writing.